Welcome to Cozy English Stories. Today we have a special story called The Forgotten Recipe Book. Let's begin. In the small town of Meadowbrook, nestled between green hills and a sparkling river, lived an old woman named Clara. Her house was small and cozy, with a garden full of colorful flowers and sweet-smelling herbs. Clara had lived in Meadowbrook her whole life. She was known for her kindness and her amazing baking. Everyone in town loved her apple pies and chocolate cakes. One sunny afternoon, Clara decided to do some spring cleaning. She went up to her attic, a place she hadn't visited in years. The attic was dusty and filled with old things, forgotten toys, old clothes, and stacks of books. As she moved an old wooden chest, she found something tucked away in a corner. It was a small leather-bound book. The cover was worn and faded, and it had no title. Curiosity sparked in Clara's eyes. She opened the book carefully. The pages were yellow with age, and the handwriting was elegant and familiar. It was her grandmother's recipe book. Clara's heart filled with warmth. She remembered her grandmother, a woman with a bright smile and hands that were always covered in flour. As a little girl, Clara had spent hours in the kitchen with her, watching her mix and bake. She sat down on an old chair, the dusty air of the attic forgotten. As she turned the pages, wonderful memories came flooding back. There was the recipe for sunshine lemon cake, which her grandmother always baked on rainy days to bring a little sunshine into the house. There was the recipe for starlight sugar cookies, which they made every Christmas Eve and decorated with sparkling sugar. Each recipe had a little note written next to it. Next to the recipe for friendship bread, her grandmother had written, "A loaf to share is a friendship to care." Clara smiled. Her grandmother believed that food was more than just something to eat. It was a way to show love and connect with people. As she read, Clara found a recipe she didn't recognize. It was called moonbeam muffins. The ingredients were simple: flour, sugar, butter, and a special ingredient listed as a sprinkle of moonlight. Clara laughed. Her grandmother always had a touch of magic in her cooking. The note next to the recipe said, "Bake these on a full moon and make a wish." Clara looked out the small attic window. The sun was beginning to set, and a beautiful full moon was rising in the evening sky. An idea sparked in her mind. She would bake the moonbeam muffins tonight. She hurried down to her kitchen, the old recipe book held tightly in her hands. The kitchen was her favorite room in the house. It was warm and always smelled of cinnamon and vanilla. She gathered the ingredients from her pantry. Flour, sugar, butter, and for the sprinkle of moonlight, she had a creative idea. She found a jar of edible silver glitter that she used for special occasion cakes. It sparkled just like moonlight. Clara followed the instructions carefully. She mixed the batter, her hands moving with the familiar rhythm of a seasoned baker. The recipe was simple, but she put all her love into it, just as her grandmother had taught her. As she placed the muffin tin in the oven, the sweet smell began to fill the kitchen. While the muffins were baking, Clara sat at her kitchen table with a cup of tea. She thought about her grandmother and all the happy moments they had shared. The recipe book was not just a collection of instructions. It was a treasure chest of memories. It reminded her of the importance of family, tradition, and sharing joy with others. When the muffins were ready, she took them out of the oven. They were golden brown and smelled divine. She carefully added a sprinkle of the silver glitter on top of each one. They twinkled under the kitchen light, looking just like they were touched by moonbeams. Clara took a bite of a warm muffin. It was delicious. The taste was simple yet comforting, like a warm hug. As she ate, she closed her eyes and made a wish, just as the recipe suggested. She wished for more moments like this, full of warmth, memory, and a little bit of magic. The next morning, Clara decided to share her new discovery. She baked a big batch of moonbeam muffins. She packed them into baskets and walked into town. Her first stop was the local library. She gave a muffin to Mrs. Gable, the librarian who was always so helpful. Mrs. Gable's eyes lit up. "Clara, this is wonderful." "What's the occasion?" "Just a little something to brighten your day," Clara said with a smile. Next, she visited Mr. Henderson, the mailman who was on his route. He was always so cheerful no matter the weather. He gratefully took a muffin. "You've made my day, Clara." he said, taking a big bite. She continued through the town, sharing her moonbeam muffins with everyone she met, the children playing in the park, the shopkeepers opening their stores, and her neighbors tending their gardens. Each person she gave a muffin to smiled and thanked her. The simple act of sharing brought so much happiness. By the end of the day, her baskets were empty, but her heart was full. She saw people all over Meadowbrook enjoying her muffins, talking and laughing together. The little town felt even warmer and friendlier than usual. That evening, as Clara sat in her cozy armchair, she looked at the old recipe book on the table. Finding it had been a gift, it had not only brought back precious memories, but it also inspired her to create new ones. She realized her grandmother's greatest recipe was not for any cake or bread. It was the recipe for happiness, a mix of love, a dash of kindness, and a generous portion of sharing. From that day on, Clara made a new tradition. Every full moon, she would bake moonbeam muffins and share them with the town of Meadowbrook. It became a special event that everyone looked forward to. The muffins were a sweet reminder that the simplest things in life, like a shared treat and a kind gesture, can create the most beautiful magic. And so the legacy of the Forgotten Recipe Book lived on, not just in the delicious treats that came from its pages, but in the love and community it helped to nurture in the small, happy town of Meadowbrook. Clara continued to bake, her heart full of her grandmother's wisdom, spreading joy one muffin at a time. The cozy little house with the colorful garden remained the heart of the town, a place where everyone knew they could find a sweet treat and a warm smile. Thank you for listening to our story today. We hope you enjoyed this journey to Meadowbrook. If you like this story, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more cozy English stories. See you next time.